Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Laura Train Mama. Today we are doing something slightly different. We are baking in our kitchen and we thought why not film it and have you join us.
Yes, and today we're making Blackberry Crumble.
Blackberry Crumble. So just adding in a stock image just in case you were curious as to what one looks like before we get there. So, the Blackberry Crumble, or a crumble I guess, has been around since World War II, so around the 1940s. Obviously today it's a firm favourite in British households. Not everyone likes the crumble, but I certainly do.
And we think maybe I like it.
Yeah. So we went out this morning. It's July at the time of filming, so our blackberries have come into season early and it's our summer holidays.
Yes, so we went blackberry picking, and if we hadn't gone blackberry picking, we wouldn't be able to make a blackberry crumble.
Well, I guess at some times of the year you can buy them from the supermarkets. However, they are abundant near us, so we went and picked some. So we picked those this morning.
And today we're making it homemade.
We are. To join in at home. So for the actual crumble topping, you are going to need some plain flour. You're going to need a little bit of caster sugar. And you could use unsalted butter, but we've just got this baking block.
Really, of baking butter.
And then for your actual compote, so your fruit part of the crumble, you are going to use some blackberries, of course. It's the star of our show.
And these Granny Smith apples.
Yeah, or you could use a cooking apple. Sometimes people have apple trees with cooking apples on, maybe in the garden. You could even use a red apple, it's fine. But I think these ones are a little bit more tangy and
work more well in a pie, don't they? Or a crumble.
Yeah, so they have a slight tanginess to them. So when I was little, this is what we always used to use if we didn't have any cooking apples. So that is what I use as an adult. You can also use demerara sugar. We have got brown sugar here and some ground cinnamon. So what we're going to do first is that we are going to make the crumble topping. So that is going to be the flour, the sugar, the butter. Mix that all together.
So what do we need? But Mum, what I'm talking about is, what do we use first? The flour, the butter, or the sugar?
We're going to use the flour first.
Okay.
Okay, we need 120 grams.
Is enough?
Bit more, a little bit more. Stop. That's
Sorry.
just over, but it's probably okay. So we've got 120 grams there of the plain flour.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second. So let me just readjust this because I think it got tapped slightly. So we need 60 grams of caster sugar, which is that one.
Okay.
Slowly. Bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. A little bit more. No, sip. About like that. Something like that, that'll do.
Yeah, let's just pour it in.
And then we want 60 grams of our baking block, or if you had butter, you could use butter. So there are markers here. So each one of these lines is like 25 grams. So 25.
Can I cut one?
Yeah, let me just explain. So 25 plus 25 equals 50. But we need 60. And if we were to do another one, that would give us 75, which is too much. So we need just a little bit. It doesn't have to be super accurate, but we just need probably somewhere between the two.
Can I cut it?
Yeah. You see what I mean? Just halfway-ish. You don't want to get the foil in, look. You need to lift the foil up, lift the knife up.
And I'll get a block of it.
Yeah, so it's this side that we need, yeah?
Is this enough?
You need all of that side. Watch your fingers.
I cut it into 2 chunks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so these 2 chunks now need to go into the bowl. Over here. So what we're going to do is we are going to use our fingertips to just mix it all together, and then what that's going to do is make like this slightly crumbly texture. It's going to feel a little bit like if you were to make shortbread biscuits. So if anyone is used to doing those, that's the texture you're looking for. And it's okay to have
It feels all squishy.
Yeah. And it's okay to have some little clumps of butter, because when your crumble topping bakes in the oven, it's going to
And this is
be
one
nice.
of the chunks that
Well, yeah,
it would
you need to
look
mix
like.
it in a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so I have taken over and just used my fingertips to mix the sugar, the flour and the butter together. This is the texture that you're looking for. So our next job is that we are going to make a caramel using sugar, 30 grams. So that's this dark sugar. You could use demerara or whatever sugar you have really.
Caramel? I love caramel.
Yeah, so we're going to use 30 grams of sugar and 30 grams of butter. We're going to melt that carefully in the pan. And then we are going to measure out 300 grams of the apples. Okay, we're going to cut it all up, get rid of the core, get rid of the skin, so it's just the apple.
Okay, Mum, but can I pour it in?
Yeah, good. We need to measure out our ingredients first. So we need to measure out the sugar, 30 grams, and measure out the butter.
Okay, but which to put in first?
The sugar. Sugar should go first, I think.
I just...
Tiny, teeny little drop more, not much more. Yeah, that's enough, that's plenty. So, don't need loads. So put that in the pan.
Okay. I like pouring stuff in stuff.
Yeah, I'm just going to get the butter back out of the fridge. So the recipe calls for 30 grams. However, we ended up nearer to 40 grams. So 25 plus 25 would be 50. So I would say, like, you know, just leave a little slither. A bit less than that. A bit like a little bit less.
Like that. Let's move the foil out the way. There we go.
Yeah, just pop it in the pan.
Oh,
It's okay. So we're going to melt that. While that is melting very gently, we need to be cutting up 300 grams of apples.
okay.
So 3 apples takes us over 300 grams. So bearing in mind that once we've cut it all up and taken the core out and the skin off, you're going to be less than 300 grams anyway. Okay, I did forget to mention that you are going to need an apple peeler. Looks a bit like this. Before you start, and so that is going to peel a ring of the skin
Can I
off.
have this one?
Yep. And then once you have peeled it all, you want to cut your apple into quarters, and then you want to cut out the pips and put them to one side. It's just you like this, and then you probably want to cut that in half again. Okay, so now that I have peeled and cored and taken the skin off 3 apples, I'm just going to check on the weight. So we needed 300, and as you can see, it's slightly under. So I'm going to use the apple, one of the apples that we've got left, to just top that up. I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to take the skin off. I'm going to take the core off, and I'm just going to top that up until it's 300 grams. I think some people would measure out the 3 apples and just stick to that, but I like to do it this way. So you can do it however you wish. Okay, over here on the cooker is the demerara sugar. However, I used brown sugar and the baking block. So we had 30 grams of sugar and 30 grams of butter. I've gently melted that into a light caramel. I'm now going to add the apples.
I want to see the caramel. Oh, it doesn't look like caramel.
No.
Can I pour that in?
Yeah. Okay, give it a shake. So we are going to mix it all up to coat it, and then we're going to...
Can I do that?
Yeah, so coat it all up in the caramel, and then you're going to heat it through for about 3 to 5 minutes. And what that's going to do is just gently cook the apples slightly and just set them in. So another component for this crumble is the crumble topping that we made earlier. We're just going to spread that out onto this baking sheet and bake.
Do that?
Yeah, and bake that for 15 minutes.
Oh.
So we just gently.
Can I spread it out as well?
Those little blobs of butter are going to provide a very chewy topping. Delicious.
This is now getting really hot. This is our apples cooking away. After 3 to 5 minutes, we are going to add in those blackberries and the cinnamon. Okay, so that's been cooking for about 3 to 5 minutes. We are now going to add those blackberries. In we go.
Oh, they look nice and hot.
Okay, and then we're just going to add a little bit of the cinnamon. Okay, so we've added the cinnamon and now we're going to mix it up. We're mixing.
We're mixing. The song actually goes like this. We're mixing. We're mixing. And now it's time to stop. Woo.
So we're going to let this cook for 3 minutes and then I'm going to reduce the heat right down. So this crumble topping is ready now. It's gone slightly over, so I will not use the edges. I'm just going to use the golden stuff. Okay. So this part is ready now as well. So this is the apples that were caramelized with the blackberries and the cinnamon. Mixed it all up, about 3 to 5, 6 minutes. So that's now ready.
Apples turn purple.
Yeah. So some people, when they make a crumble, they put that and the topping all in one oven-proof dish and they bake it all together. But what I find, I don't like to do that because the crumble topping gets really, really wet and mushy. And that's okay like while you're eating it, but when you're serving it, I think to serve it really mushy is just not my preference. So that's why I always bake the top half and add that separately so that you literally just have a few minutes before you're going to serve it, and that stops it getting really, really mushy, basically. It's just my preference. Okay, so frequently asked questions, how do we make the crumble then? I am going to show you. I just forgot to mention earlier, if you're making this ahead of time, so for example, it's mid-afternoon now, we probably really wouldn't be having this until after our dinner later. So you could just leave it quite happily like this until you're... So what you need to do is you need an oven-proof dish, which I'll show you 2 examples of what we have here. Yeah, so 2 examples. So something like this, I would call like a Pyrex dish. I would use this one, it's quite big, for something like a lasagna. So what you could do is use some tin foil and you could actually use it to kind of like make a wall, because this is like far too big. And I have done that before. Or you could use something like this, which is actually like a loaf tin, but it does actually lend itself quite well. So I think for the purpose of this is probably too big. You could use this, and I have used this for a crumble before, but it's a bit faffy to kind of get it down to size, and it kind of leaks a little bit sometimes. If you do it properly and you take your time, it's okay, but it's extra work. So I think for today, I'm going to use this. So what we're going to do now is spoon in the fruit mixture to the bottom, and then we're going to sprinkle on our crumble topping, and then we are going to pop it back in the oven for basically it's like 5-10 minutes just to warm it through really, and then it will be ready to serve. So next we are going to use a slotted spoon. We're going to lift up the fruit, we're going to empty it over into here.
Can I do it?
Yeah, so we're just going to let some of the liquid drain out. There's quite a lot of liquid. We could have left it to simmer down, that would have taken it down a little bit. This is just a bit quicker, and yeah, go on then.
Okay. There we go.
Just let the liquid drain, that's it. Yep. Yep, it's okay. A little bit of liquid's alright, we just want to get the most off.
You can do the rest.
Okay.
Ooh.
So for the crumble topping, you're literally just placing it on. You can break it up a teeny tiny bit if you want to, but... So as it comes together, this is kind of what it looks like. And then you can see there's like teeny tiny little gaps, like there's a gap.
I'll see a gap.
The crumbs from your tray, you're just going to sprinkle in to fill up all those gaps, and then it's done. You can just go back into the oven, just literally to heat it back through, 5-10 minutes absolute max. Okay, so that brings us to the end. You just missed the little sizzle as I brought it out of the oven. You can see got a little bit of a mixing of the crumble topping and the underneath, but when you serve that up, it is not going to be too super mushy. It's just going to be really nice. You've still got a nice bite of the crunchy top. How would I serve this? I would serve it with some vanilla ice cream in the first instance, or it might go well with cream as well. Some people just like to eat it on their own, or with custard for a slightly heavier pudding, bit more filling. If you've had a light dinner and you really fancy filling up on your pudding, then I would probably serve it with custard. Okay, I really hope that you enjoyed listening along and watching along today, something slightly different. If you did, let me know. Any comments, drop them in, and have a great day.